Hello everyone. Welcome to Durrett's Take. It's that time of the week where I go over my top 10 college football games of the week and my predictions for them. Week 11 now. Season's flying by. Let's get started off with the top game of the week between number 11 Alabama, who are 2.5 point favorites, versus 15 LSU primetime game on ABC. This matchup usually has high stakes attached to it, and it's no different this time around. The loser of this game will be eliminated from the playoffs. Both teams are coming off a bye week, so I expect both teams to be sharp. I lean towards picking the Tigers here. Besides being at home at night in Death Valley, they were embarrassed in the second half in their last game against A&M. They want to get rid of that bad taste from their mouth. So both teams are coming sharp because both teams are coming off bye weeks. But I'll pick the Tigers to win a close game here, either winning 24-23. Next, you get number 2. You got 3 Georgia, 2.5 point favorites versus 16 Ole Miss, 3-3 game on ABC. It's another big game in the SEC between ranked versus ranked team. If Ole Miss loses this game, they would be out of the playoffs. If they win, then based off their schedule, there's a good chance they could win out and could sneak into the playoffs despite the bad home loss earlier in the year against Kentucky. Because of the way Georgia's been playing this year, I can see this game being close. For me, I've just seen it too many times where Ole Miss struggles against the top dogs in the conference like Bama or Georgia. Until Ole Miss proves that they can knock off a top dog like Georgia, I'll have Georgia to find another way to win a game and keep their SEC title hopes alive. I have them winning 24-19. Number 3, you got 20 Colorado, 4-point favorites versus Texas Tech, a 4 Fox game. This is a huge game in the Big 12. With Texas Tech upsetting Iowa State on the road last week, and Kansas State getting upset by Houston, it's opened up the door for Colorado to make it to the Big 12 title game, especially if Iowa State can somehow lose again. This is the last big test on Colorado's schedule. I'll admit I was impressed with the Red Raiders' defense against Iowa State because usually they give a lot of points and they don't play good defense. But in this, they only give 22 to Iowa State, which is pretty good. However, the Cyclones shot themselves in the so many times, which allowed Tech to eventually win the game. Colorado's offense, especially off of a bye week, will be too hard to contain, so the Red Raiders will need to have a better offensive performance this week and basically win a shootout, which they're capable of winning a shootout, especially with this game being Lubbock. It's going to be hard for Colorado, but I do feel like Colorado can find a way to get the win and keep their momentum going, either winning 38-31. Number 4, you got South Carolina, they're 4.5 point favorites versus Vanderbilt, 4:15 game SC Network. Vanderbilt is going bowling for the first time since 2018. However, I don't think the Commodores are satisfied with that right now. They want to try to win as many games as possible because even if they have just an 8 or 9 win season, for them, that's equivalent to like 11 win season for most teams. South Carolina's coming off a big high after upsetting Texas A&M last week, so I can see a little letdown here for the Gamecocks, and I can see Vanderbilt make some clutch plays to win the game at home. I have them winning 24-23. Number 5, you got 9 BYU, 3-point favorites versus Utah in 10:15 ESPN game. You get the Holy War here, which is one of the most underrated rivalries in college football. In my opinion, it's top, especially when both teams are good. It's a top 5 rivalry to me in college football. But with rivalry games, records can be thrown out the window. Both teams are coming off a bye week, and boy, did the Utes need it. Coach Kyle Whittingham saying he was split reps between Isaac Wilson, Zach Wilson's younger brother, and who started multiple games this season, and Brandon Rose, who filled in for Wilson after he was benched in their last game before the bye. If Utah had a better offensive coordinator and had not recently, because their previous offensive coordinator was not basically quit, and now they've promoted a new offensive coordinator that has no track record of being good, and they didn't lose their best weapon to this season at injury, then I would say the bye week maybe helped them more, but only so much can be done. Now, Utah has a good defense, so the only way to win this game for them is to force BYU quarterback Jake Retzloff into multiple turnovers. In the 3 games this year that Retzloff has thrown at least 2 interceptions, they were all 1-score games. If it's just 1 interception or 1 fumble or no turnovers, then it's multiple possessions. So that's the formula. Utah, despite their troubles, they still have a really good defense. So that's the way they have to win there, and I feel like they will force the Cougars to maybe into some multiple turnovers, but the Cougars eke out a win to remain undefeated and get their first win in Salt Lake City since 2006. This is also a needed win for the Cougars because since the playoff committee disrespected them in their original rankings, and the Big 12 as a whole for that matter, the Cougars have no margin of error that they need to remain undefeated. I have BYU winning 20-16, so I feel like the line right there is right. Next, you got number 6. You got West Virginia versus Cincinnati, 4.5-point favorites, noon on FS1. Cincinnati is trying to get bowl eligible after being the worst team in the league last year. West Virginia, based on their schedule, really needs to get this win if they want to have a realistic shot at making the bowl game. However, West Virginia's defense has been bad against the run all year, and Cincinnati loves to run the ball. The Bearcats should control the clock and contain a West Virginia offense that have been inconsistent all year to punch their ticket to a bowl game. I have Cincinnati winning 28-20. Number 7, you got Oklahoma versus 24 or 3-point favorites versus Missouri, 7:45 game SC Network. And this is a big game for the Sooners. Since they have to play LSU and Bama for the final 2 games, they need to steal this game on the road if they want to feel good about making the bowl game. Missouri has not looked good over the last few weeks. Injuries are a factor for sure, but it's definitely not the same team it was 10 years ago when they won over 10 games or a top 10 team. So I feel the Tigers would benefit coming off of a bye week to get not only get more healthy, but to figure out some issues, and they can still at least have a pretty good, decent November. So I have the Missouri Tigers winning a lower scoring game, 16-13. Number 8, you got 23 Clemson or 6-point favorites versus Virginia Tech, 3:30 game on ESPN. I warned people that Clemson was getting a lot of undeserved hype since they had not beaten anyone with a winning record, and that remains the case after this past Saturday. Clemson still has an outside shot at an AC title game, so they have to take care of business for the last few weeks of the season, and it'll help, obviously, Miami or SMU lose at some point. Playing at Virginia Tech is not easy. However, I have question marks with the Hokies right now. Their starting quarterback, Kyron Jones, did not start in their loss to Syracuse last Saturday. Their backup quarterback, Colin Shea, is a nice veteran, but he's a backup veteran for a reason. He got banged up in the game as well. So if Kyron Jones comes back and plays, I can see the Hokies getting an upset here. But otherwise, I'll take Clemson Tigers to bounce back at the win. Either winning 38-23. Number 9, you got 4 Miami, 11-point favorites versus Georgia Tech, noon on ESPN game. It would be nice to know if Georgia Tech starting quarterback Haynes Keenes is starting since he's been out the last few games. If so, then the Yellow Jackets could put up some points. However, the problem is Miami's offense is just so elite, and even the committee said that, like, despite their bad defense and close calls, because their offense is so elite, that's why they're ranked as high as they are. I doubt Georgia Tech can win a shootout. Even if the Yellow Jackets force multiple turnovers on defense, Miami has shown time and time again that they can overcome that since their offense is that good. Therefore, I'll take Miami to remain undefeated, either winning 48-24. And then last but not least, you got Michigan versus 8 Indiana, her 14-point favorites, 3:30 game on CBS. I know there were going to be upsets last week, but I just picked the wrong game. Indiana continues to dominate their mediocre opponents, and the playoff committee even acknowledged that, which is why they're a top 10 team, despite their weak strength of schedule. I feel they could dominate once again since Michigan's offense is limited. I don't think the Hoosiers will look ahead to Iowa State, like some teams may get caught in looking ahead. I don't think they'll look ahead, and they'll take care of business and remain undefeated. I have Indiana winning 30-13. So thank you very much for listening to my podcast today. Please subscribe to my channel, chat about me. Just as a reminder, college basketball has started this week, so watch out for that. NBA basketball is looking good so far, so watch out for that as well. Thank you very much, and y'all have a wonderful weekend.